All right, welcome to this week's Points and Miles report here on Traveling on Everyday Spend. I hope everybody's been having a great week. Before we get started, some new information that I just ended up seeing is that Marriott, who works with Sonder, their agreement is over immediately. Now, Sonder, if you remember, is the one which used to be into Airbnbs, their apartment style. Most of their properties are apartment style. And they obviously, once the whole Airbnb thing started dying out, ended up doing an agreement with Marriott last year. And they really had just kind of fixed or set all of the numbers and the redemptions only a few months ago. So now it is over as of right now. So if you are a person that has a Sonder booking, here's what you need to know. If you did your booking related to Marriott, Marriott will reach out to you via their Marriott channels, your email, or different communications to address the cancellation and try to get you rebooked for something that fits for what you were trying to do. If you did it through a third party like hotels.com or booking.com, you need to reach out to that third party to address the cancellation. So you'll want to do that pretty quickly because obviously this has come up so quickly. The one other thing to keep in mind, well, something to think about is what ended up causing this. And there are different elements of their agreement that could do this, whether they didn't make their payments, if there might have been some financial numbers that wasn't correct, let's say, as well as some other things. Now, remember, when Sonder ended up coming on board to do this, they had just gone through, I think, about a 1 or 2 years worth of their numbers not being correct, and their audit was bad, much worse than what they reported. So I just want to start that off. If you have any Sonder reservations, get them addressed now so that you are not thrown for a loop if you've already got your travel planned. So let's go ahead and start with that. I want to say hello and good day to Miles of Smiles. Appreciate you stopping through. And Mr. Cool, thank you so much. We should really appreciate you stopping through. Just wanted to kind of get that one started. But let's go ahead and jump to our normal process of going through some things. So as far as the credit card offers, we have seen some changes that have happened with it. So let's go and talk about it. When it comes to American Express, we're pretty much down to just the Hilton Honors cards. We've gone through the window of a couple of Marriott cards, and we've already gone through the window of Delta cards. So we have Hilton, but once again, as we've talked about before, all the way till January 14th. So we have a lot of time with that. And I'll probably will look at doing an updated video on a comparison of these cards so that hopefully whatever card if you're interested, you'll be able to pick the right card for you. Wells Fargo, we still surprisingly have the One Key credit cards, and those are once again ones for Expedia, Vrbo are a couple of them. I think hotels.com is the third. If you are a person that normally books through those third parties, you really do need to look at the One Key cards because I think it will help with your status, even if it is a no annual fee card, which is the One Key. So that is something to look out for. Now, Bank of America, we did have another adjustment as far as their welcome bonuses, and I think this is kind of the second or third version of this. So if you are looking at the personal Atmos card, which is the Ascent, that is 60,000 points plus a 30% global flight discount. So it's good to see that it's global, obviously, versus just domestic. That is for $3,000 in spend in the first 90 days. The Atmos Business Card is 60,000 points plus a $99 companion certificate. And remember, those companion certificates can now be done on not just Alaska, but also on Hawaiian Airlines as well. And then we have the Alaska, Atmos Summit Card at $395. That one is at 80,000 points, down from its high of 100,000 points. And you still get the 25,000 Global Companion Award for $4,000 in spend in the first 90 days. We are just finishing up our required spend on this. In fact, I'll finish it today with a $100 purchase to get these. Really looking forward to getting this card. I really do believe it is the best airline card that's out there for a number of reasons, and I've done a video on that before. Capital One, we still have the Venture One, Quicksilver, and Saver Rewards card. All of those are great no annual fee cards. $200 cash back on your first $500 in spend, and you'll get that $100 travel credit that you do need to use through your portal, but the portal is pretty competitive in many cases. For Chase, we still have the elevated offers on the Sapphire cards, Preferred, Reserve, and the Reserve Business. The 75,000 points after $5,000 in spend for the Sapphire Preferred in the first 3 months. We still have the excuse me, the 125,000 points for $6,000 in spend on purchases in the first 3 months for the Sapphire Reserve. And then the Sapphire Reserve Business, 200,000 points after $30,000 in spend on purchases in the first 6 months. Now, a couple of things that have come out as far as these reserve cards is the fact of Hyatt going a little bit deeper in their relationship with Chase. And so what we're seeing now is that the Hyatt cards, well, Hyatt status is going to be applied in the near future for both the Reserve and the Reserve Business, and it would be Explorer status. Now, the good and the bad that we don't necessarily know. The good is that Explorers is at least a status level that does get you a little bit with Hyatt, with World of Hyatt. The status you can only get right now just with a card is getting Discoverer status, which is one step below Explorers, and that is with just the business card. You don't get any status off the bat with personal credit, with the personal credit card. Now, that Explorer status is more than likely, even though I don't think we've gotten the determination of do you get it right with just having the card, it's not likely. It's probably going to happen when you hit that $75,000 mark, which is what we see triggers some different benefits on the reserve right now, including IHG premium elite status, platinum elite status, I believe. Now that's one that you could get with just their $99 card, which is a great card that I really like of their hotel cards. So that one is supposed to come, but I think you're going to have to get to that $75,000 to do it. The other thing that we've also heard is that we're going to see a premium Hyatt credit card, and we might as well touch on that right now. As far as this Hyatt premium credit card, that's probably going to be in the $400 range. I would not expect it to be like the Hilton Aspire card, which obviously the Hilton Aspire card at $550, I believe, is getting you diamond status, which is the top tier status with Hilton. Now, we're going to talk about that in a bit because it's what we're going to talk about is a perfect example of why do not expect that you're going to see globalist status get to come with even a premium credit card with Hyatt. It's just too valuable of a status. And when we talk about Hilton, we're going to see how it's obviously caused Hilton a problem, and we're not going to see that Hyatt make that same mistake. So I wanted to make sure to throw that in. Let's see, Miles, your camera is clear, but the mic on your mic, but blurry with you. Let me back that off. I appreciate you pointing that out. Sometimes I get these things a bit off here. Let's see if that's any better. And let's see if it loses that focus on that. And let me know if that didn't take away from the sound and that the look ends up better. But thank you for pointing that out, Miles and Smiles. So I wanted to bring that to you for that. Now let's move back to some of these other ones here. So with the Ink business cards, now we do know that that is going to be coming up as far as the end date. That is going to be on November 13th is what they're stating through the blogs. So if you want to do this $900 bonus on either of those two cards, then you definitely want to be able to jump on that. And thanks again, Miles and Smiles. Appreciate you pointing that out. So what you want to make sure to, for those that have business cards, these cards are probably especially the business cash is the best no annual fee business card that I know about. It's one that, and as we've talked about before, I'm so far over 524, I really only have one Chase card, which is the preferred. My wife is the one that has all of the other cards. So we have a couple of business cash cards and an unlimited. And I've said this before, repeat it again. The key to this card, in addition to this great bonus, which is about as high as I've seen it in a few years, is the fact that 5% at the office supply store. If you want to be able to utilize getting 5% on a lot of categories where you do not normally get 5% or 5 points, if you couple it with a Sapphire card or the equivalent business credit card, then that 5% is allowed for you to get gift cards. And you don't have to just get the gift cards for Starbucks and those kind of things. You can get Visa and MasterCard gift cards. But the key is that an office supply store such as Staples or Office Max, depending on where you live, they rotate. So every week you will normally find at one of those places that either the Visa or the MasterCard has the fee waived. And that's the key thing, because that's what makes the problem, is that if you have to pay the fee on those cards, it loses some of the value on it. But pay attention to that. And if you're interested in it, it's a great card to get. So I wanted to just raise that topic for you all. And then let's move on to Southwest. Now, the personal cards have all gone to 85,000 points for $3,000 in spend in the first 3 months. So it doesn't matter if it's the $99 card, the $149, or the $229. So if you are not necessarily a person that is deep with Southwest but have an interest in picking up some points, then you may want to end up looking at this. This promotion has kind of happened once or twice that I can remember, where all the cards get the same welcome bonus, and then the decision needs to be made of which card is the right one for you in that particular case. World of Hyatt, their personal credit card, this promotion ends on November 20th. And that's for 30,000 points for $3,000 in purchases in the first 3 months. And then you can get up to an additional 30,000 points if you spend in the first 6 months, well, up to $15,000. So if you're purchasing items that are 1x in value for points, they will double it to 2x. And that has a cap of $15,000, which is where the 30,000 points comes from. But if you've heard me talk about this before, this is not a 60,000 point welcome bonus. I won't even word it that way. It's 30,000, and then if you want to spend, you can earn some more. But you do get 2-tier qualifying nights for each night you do utilize for World of Hyatt from October 16th through January 31st of 2026. That's up to 15 nights, which thus gets you 30 qualifying nights, which I believe puts you at the Discoverist level, which we've talked about before. So that ends on November 20th, so keep that in mind. City, we still have the Strata Elite at 100,000 points. We have the City Strata at 30,000 points, which is a very good card for a no annual fee card for those multipliers, that it really makes it comparable from a multiplier standpoint to the Strata Premier. And then we have the City Advantage Globe, which is the new Advantage card, mid-tier card at $350, 90,000 American Airline miles for $5,000 in purchases. We do have a new one, and this is one that we've talked about probably maybe a few months ago. Amtrak Guest Rewards Preferred Card. They have two cards. One is a no annual fee card. One is a $99 card. This is the $99 annual fee. 40,000 points after $2,000 in purchases in the first 3 billing cycles. We do know that the firm end date for that is December 16th. The welcome bonus on this is normally 20,000 points. It has a lot of decent perks on this. So if you're a person that is a regular train warrior, taking, especially on the East Coast on a daily basis, or if you're planning to take that long trip on Amtrak across the country, this may be a card that you may want to consider, not just from the points status, but from some of the features that comes with the card. So keep that in mind. And then as far as the transfer bonuses, we do have a few things to talk about. And For American Express, we have Avianca, and we're going to talk about Avianca a little bit later. It was something that a viewer had asked me about in the comment section, and I told him I would go ahead and do a section within this live stream to talk about that Avianca, and we will get to that. Marriott Bonvoy, 30% ends November 30th as well. Capital One, British Airways, 20% ends November 22nd. And Chase has Finnair at 20% and 20% that goes all the way till December 31st. And then Virgin Atlantic at 40%, which is a pretty good number, ends November 20th. Now, the one that I did end up coming across, which could be good for some people, is transferring between Accor Live Limitless and Vietnam Airlines. This runs from November 7th through November 30th, and it's 50%, and it goes both ways. So if you have Accor Live Limitless points and you transfer those to Vietnam, it normally goes at a 3-to-2 rate. This will bring it to a 1-to-1 ratio if you are looking to do something with Vietnam Airlines. If you're transferring from Vietnam Airlines to Accor Live Limitless, it goes from a 5-to-1 to a 5-to-1.5. So not something that I normally see come up at all, but for some niche people that are looking at Vietnam Airlines and have a lot of Accor Live Limitless points, might be something that you want to end up looking at that for the transfer bonuses. Now, as far as the points and miles opportunities, as you all know, I try to stuff the description with as much as I possibly can, but I do try to touch on some new ones here on the live stream. So let's start with Southwest. Now, that one has up to a 50% discount, plus you can get up to 20% off of basic and not Chase Basic, but off of their basic fare. And there's one other classification I'll have to look back up. When you purchase the points. Now, you do have to do this by November 17th. So what ends up happening is if you purchase at least 3,000 Southwest miles, then you trigger the 50% discount. It is not tiered. And that is valued at about 1.5 cents per mile. And that's a little bit higher than I think most people value it at 1.3 or so. But once again, if you're looking at topping off, if you have a deal that you're looking at, then you determine what the value of your redemption is. Now, if you do that, you will get a 20% code for flights that are between December 1st and April 30th of 2026. Now, that 20% value is going to vary depending upon the fare that you get and when you're flying. So it's not a locked in specific savings, but it does help. It is something to consider. Now, it is not guaranteed that everybody gets that whole setup, but I looked at mine and I do have that same exact one. And as you all know, my luck of getting the best offer is poor. So if I got it and you're interested, make sure to look at it through your account because you probably have it as well. Now, Wyndham is the complete opposite. You can get up to 100% bonus. Now, your mileage may vary on this. You do need to purchase by December 31st. And if you get this from 3,000 points to 200,000 points, it would bring down that rate to 0.65 cents. Now, this is the highest, this is the best bonus deal they've had in, I don't want to say ever, but I'm almost bordering on it, but definitely for a very long time. Now, as I said, your mileage might vary. I am not at 100% on this one. I'm at 70%. So once again, you need to look at your own account to make sure of what is going to be the best one for you. The Accor Live Limitless 4X at new hotels. I've mentioned this one time before, but I do want to repeat this one because it does require registration, which I'll have a link for, of course. And this is an excellent, they have a lot of new hotels that come out. The last time I looked, it was over 30 different hotels. Now that's of course worldwide, but getting 4 points per dollar when Accor Live Limitless points are not the easiest points to get is something that not necessarily that you'll change how you do your travel, but it might be opportunistic. So I wanted to bring that to you as well. The Fairmont winter offer I've mentioned before. It's one that I have booked for myself to stay at Fairmont at the Vancouver airport to give that one a shot. It's be my first time being in a Fairmont, so I'm looking forward to it. And did it through this winter offer for 2 nights. 10% using points though, so that's going to help a bit. Make sure to check for this. You do need to have advanced purchase of at least 3 days. And then of course, Hyatt, I mentioned this as far as buying points with the 20% discount. We have until December 20th on that. This is really more of something if you're looking to kind of plan ahead, not to make the purchase of points right now, but at least for your strategy. In my case, I'm looking at going to Hyatt in October of next year as part of using my American Express $300 travel credit. And I might look at doing something with points as well. And so it is something I'm looking to make sure of where my points are going to be at and what I might earn over the next year. And there may be a place to top off something with that. So I mentioned that for those reasons. So I wanted to raise that to your attention. And then as far as some of the quick notes, these are things that just I want to make sure to get out to you and just make sure you're aware of. US Bank is going to be doing double rewards between November 26th and the 28th. It's a double bonus shopping. You do have to activate the offer within your account. And that is something that can end up getting you some really good benefit if you have US Bank credit cards. Free Starlink Wi-Fi. This was announced as far as British Airways, Iberia, and Level. And Level is the long-haul budget carrier out of Barcelona. That's all part of this group. They are going to offer Starlink Wi-Fi free to all passengers, regardless of what class or cabin you're in. This is a major improvement, really, especially for Level, because especially in Europe, but even a lot of places that we would end up seeing, these budget carriers are not normally giving you Wi-Fi for free, and this is going to end up helping Level, at least as far as their locations and where they're flying to. Now, as far as Vueling and Aer Lingus, I would assume we're going to hear that they'll do the same thing, but that announcement has not happened yet. And part of it may end up being we've seen how long it can take for fleets to get their Wi-Fi set up. And they might be buying some additional time as far as Aer Lingus and Vueling and see what happens with British Airways, Iberia, and Level. Winter Wanderlust. Now, this is tying in with Amtrak. They're going to have up to a 30% discount on their travel. Now, you do have to book by November 30th, but the travel dates are from December 2nd through March 15th of 2026. Now, I'll have a link in the description for their landing page so that you can see where all this may be able to do. Now, let's touch on the positives and the negatives. The positives will be that it's available on multiple routes, so it's not just to a very limited amount of routes. And it's also going to be available for both economy and the Acela business fares. The negatives that you're going to have to keep up with, though, is that changes and upgrades are not allowed during the sale. And you'll only get a 50% refund if it's canceled. So if you're going to take advantage of this, make sure that you know that you're going to do that. Don't want to see you losing any of your value on this. And then Priceline has already announced their Cyber Week, and there's some more details out there, but I just wanted to kind of give you just a bit of an idea. So there's early access from November 10th through November 20th. And that involves a mystery coupon and some other features. Now, you can be able to get become an email insider off of their website, and that will allow you to get the mystery coupon, excuse me. And then card member deals, if you have their card, there'll be some deals that you'll be able to do between those periods. Black Friday kickoff is going to be between November 20th and the 23rd. Then you'll have daily drops during Black Friday from November 24th through the 28th. So then they'll have a Cyber Week extended period, November 29th through the 30th, Cyber Monday on the 1st of December, and then they're going to tie in a second day of Cyber Monday and Travel Tuesday on December 2nd, and then extend Travel Tuesday to December 3rd. Make sure to go to their website, get up to speed with it. If you're a person that uses Priceline, there's going to be some very good discounts if you are a person that utilizes it. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, I want to make sure to say hello to Points Blank Travel. Appreciate it. Happy Sunday to you, sir. Definitely make sure to check him out. I've said it before, and I know I'll mention it again, is that he does an excellent job of doing some of the topics that are not necessarily the top of the line item that draws everybody's attention, but to cards and to different benefits and strategies that we all really need to be utilizing on a daily basis to get as much value as we can. So definitely make sure to check out Points Blank Travel. Really like his channel. And he also ends up doing live streams as well that you should be able to check out. So thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Now, I talked about Hilton Diamond status. We now know that after a rumor came out, we now know that it's been verified that there's going to be a new high tier for Hilton, and that's going to be the Hilton Diamond Reserve status. And so this was originally leaked out by US Credit Card Guide, and then it was confirmed by Hilton itself on its Instagram. Now, Hilton Diamond Reserve is going to require a combination of nights plus spend, 80 nights and $18,000 in spend in a year to get to Diamond Reserve status. We don't know a whole lot outside of that, what it takes to get there. And we also know that it's going to get you 22x with Hilton, which is 10x for the base points plus 12x for the Diamond Reserve status. We also know that there is talk of a Honors Society tier, which would be an invitation only, but that one is not confirmed. Now, the question is, why is this happening? And as we always talk about, you just follow the money. It'll tell you all you need to know. This will make it competitive with the Marriott Ambassador Elite, which requires 100 elite nights and $23,000 in spend, as well as to a certain extent Hyatt, but Hyatt Globalist gives you different options to get there. You do not have to have a combination of nights and spend if you don't want to. You can do it on 60 qualifying nights. You can do it on 100,000 base points, which 5 points per dollar times $20,000. Or if you're in the business setting and can do meetings, you can do it for 20 qualifying meetings. Now, as far as this whole thing, I think the biggest thing that you want to keep in mind is Hilton is a perfect example where giving top tier status on a credit card just creates a problem down the line. It becomes a glut. It gets bloated. So now there's a combination of things to keep in mind. If you're doing travel here in the United States, because it's one of our cards that we can get here in the United States, then it is a difficult thing to really get any mileage out of Diamond status at many hotels because there's plenty of people with Diamond status. Now, as you get out into the world, into some different countries, then you might see that Diamond status actually pay off for you in different times. But anytime you can essentially give something, don't get me wrong, $550 a year is not giving, but in a way it is. If you're just giving someone, if you can just buy your way to top status, then is it really top status? Compare that to an Ambassador Elite where you can't buy your way to Marriott, although you can get close if you're doing a personal card and a business card, and you can get almost there. Globalist, you have to spend your way or you have to do the nights there. I think that even Hyatt learned a lot back when the pandemic was just over. They had a fast track, and it was one I was able to use where I think you only had to have 30 nights and you got globalist status for a year plus. I did the bed running, the whole run with the Hyatt House and Hyatt Place, where at that point, I think it was 3,000 or 3,500 points for off-peak. And I just used up points and just bought it all for them. I don't think I stayed many nights at a Hyatt hotel, but I had them close here. So every now and again I would. But that 30 nights to be able to kind of buy my way through to get globalist status ended up opening opportunities for me that I wouldn't have been able to do any other way. And I did a video on it talking about one of the things where most people you don't hear about it, is that if you're a globalist, you can actually make reservations without your points. You can book them and then be able to pay off as you get closer to the travel. And that's what allowed me to be able to get Park Hyatt and get it reserved when I didn't have all the points for at the end of 2024 and be able to do it. So Hyatt, we have not seen any other new fast tracks. You've seen a little bit with American Airlines if you had status, but not really for what they've done before. And I think they got a glut of people like me that were able to kind of fast track or buy your way through to globalists. And I think it hurt them a bit, which is why you've not seen anything like that since. Hilton is similar to that. And so the creation of this new tier is really not that shocking for them to do. And now, how will that impact? We don't know, because we don't really know how they're going to distinguish Diamond, Reserve versus Diamond. Are they going to take off a bit of what Diamond gets and add it to Reserve? Or are they going to feel like they have to elevate it above Diamond without taking Diamond down? I'll be curious of what you all's thoughts are on this if you're a Diamond status person in your travel, and what your thoughts are about it. So I wanted to just kind of raise that topic for that, but I find it very interesting as far as that. So let's move to new hotels. I normally try to throw this in every so often, because for us that are in this hobby of points and miles, I find it very interesting to be able to take advantage of going to these new hotels with the points and miles that we've earned. And so we do have a few of them I want to raise to you. The first one is Ava Hotel, and this is part of Hilton's Curio collection. This one is in Paso Robles, California, which is wine country. 151 guest rooms and suites. They have 4 restaurants, including the largest rooftop venue in the county, starting at $196 per night or 60,000 Hilton points. So we've talked about 2 or 3 different hotels probably over the last month dealing with wine country in California, of new hotels that are right smack in it. And so that must be a push that's going on over there. Mechlin Hotel is a Tribute portfolio hotel by Marriott. Now, we've talked about Tribute, and Tribute is the hotel brand that is really focused on college and university environments to have themed hotels that are close to campus or even on campus. This one is Charlotte, North Carolina. 178 guest rooms, a lounge and bar, only 20 minutes away from the airport. And this would be for UNC Charlotte, so University of North Carolina at Charlotte. That's where they are. That's where they have their stake at. Starting at only $126 per night or 25,000 Marriott Bonvoy points. St. Lucia Jungle Hacienda. Now, this is just starting to accept applications. Well, I'm sorry, they're going to accept applications beginning December of 2025. This is going to be an autograph collection by Marriott, and it's located along the Carrara National Park along the Tarcoles River. I might have that pronunciation off. And this is in Mexico. Several restaurants, a spa, and an adventure center. They're going to start at $249 per night or 33,000 Marriott Bonvoy points. And then we have a new hotel out in the Maldives, and this is another IHG location, part of their Vignette collection. 50 guest rooms, which is including 20 beachside villas and 30 overwater villas. They're going to start at $476 per night, or, and it's IHG, not IHG Hyatt points, 85,000 IHG points. We have the Radisson Residences, and this one is in Tagazout Bay, Morocco. And this is, if you, I read about this and didn't know much about it, but that this bay is kind of the surf capital for Morocco. It's only 2 minutes from the beach by shuttle, 208 serviced apartments between 2 or 3 bedrooms, full kitchen, living area, and a balcony or private terrace. That's starting at only $118 per night, or if you're using the Radisson reward points, it might be worth about 0.25 cents per point, something you'll have to make sure to look and check on that. The Mandarin Oriental Dubai. I don't normally bring too many hotels that you can't do on points, but I just found this interesting. This is going to be located in downtown Dubai, and this is the second location for the Mandarin Oriental. 259 guest rooms and suites, plus another 224 private residences, 10 dining options, a spa with 9 treatment rooms, and if you need to fly there by helicopter, they do have the rooftop helipad for you. That is going to be starting at $463 per night. Thought it was interesting. Dubai is definitely something on the list for me somewhere down the line. So I'm looking forward to not necessarily being there. That may be a bit out of my window, but wanted to raise that for you. Now, I did want to talk about Avianca LifeMiles redemptions. And one of the viewers mentioned, sent me, did a comment and questioned about Avianca LifeMiles redemption. So I want to kind of take not a high level look at it. There wasn't a specific one redemption he mentioned, but I thought that a lot of us do use Avianca LifeMiles, and hopefully this will be some help for him and for others. So Avianca LifeMiles is, as you all probably know, is a valuable point currency to use with Star Alliance, which is the largest partnership of the three between Star Alliance, SkyTeam, and OneWorld. Now, Avianca LifeMiles are easy to earn between Amex, Bilt, Capital One, Citi, and now Wells Fargo. The biggest claims for them, the biggest things of why it's good to use them is because there's no fuel surcharges when you use their points on partner airlines. And it's those fuel surcharges that really can kill a lot of good deals, where we've seen them go in the $450, $500 range. I think we talked about that with Air France, Flying Blue, KLM, where we saw that those numbers had gone up in some different locations. And then most of the Star Alliance partner flights can be booked online. Now, there are some negatives because when we do these transfer partners, nothing is ever perfect. So one thing is, if you do need to speak to someone over the phone, you will have difficulties. There's just no way around it. And sometimes there's going to be cases where the availability of transfers are not as, will not all show on Avianca's website, and you won't be able to do it online, and you will have to talk to somebody. You're not going to necessarily easily be able to email, as we've seen in some other cases with some other airlines. You're going to have to do that. So that is a factor that you'll need to consider. When it comes to their booking fees and cancellation fees, they can add up, and change fees. There's a $25 award booking fee that is just flat. And then you obviously have those change and cancellation fees that are there, which are a little bit more than a lot of other places. Now, while you can book many of the partner flights on Avianca's website, you won't, a lot of times you will not see all of the availability of those flights. It's not consistent, which is not surprising. You will want to look at United and Aeroplan are a couple of very good sites to be able to see partner availability that you may need to take to Avianca on the phone to talk with them about. Now, let's talk about searching for flights on Avianca's website, because it does have kind of a niche way that it can be successful. You must have an account to search for award seats. So you do need to have an account with Avianca. They have a smart search function, which is the standard default. You do not want to use that initially, though. You're going to want to pick the specific airline you're trying to do a partner flight for and just focus on that one initially. Then you're going to want, in this part, it happens with a lot of the transfer partners, you want to search one-way flights. Don't search the round trip yet. Do the one-ways, and you can put them together as a round trip. It just seems to make it easier for most of the systems that I've ever dealt with, and the same applies for Avianca. So you'll search by one way, you'll do the number of travelers and the cabin desired. Now, the niche part of this is that their site really only works well if you're talking about nonstop flights. If you're doing connecting flights, it's not nearly as a positive experience, I'll say. And that's when you have to go back to United and Aeroplan. The other part that I wanted to raise as far as, and he talked about having difficulty finding business class seats. Once again, a lot of this ends up being dependent upon the redemption you're trying to look at. But I think a very good example is Lufthansa's first class. 87,000 miles plus $61 taxes and fees, because once again, you're not paying the fuel surcharges. That particular one, you will never find that. If you have a chance of finding it, you will not find it unless it's less than 15 days prior to the flight. So as we know, flexibility is a huge issue if you want to get the best point redemptions possible, which is why most of us can't get the best ones. You just find the good ones. So I think that hopefully this has helped somewhat. I just wanted to make sure that those kind of things as far as the search. Now, of course, you can pay for different search tools to find award seats and have a much easier time. You just have to invest the money in it. But if you're just trying to do this for free, which I normally do myself, there's a little bit of hunting, there's some time investment, and you do have to do a little bit of searching to determine if the particular redemption you're looking at is one that is day restricted like Lufthansa. So I just hopefully that helps somewhat. I just wanted to kind of share that as far as Avianca LifeMiles specifically, to look at that. And if anyone has questions or comments when it comes to this, whether it's in the live chat or afterwards about certain things, always here to try to answer the best way I can. And also people that are subscribers and viewers may also have different experiences that are helped. So I appreciate everyone just sharing their experiences on this. So let's talk about Bilt, because I had done a video about Bilt and the fact that they were not, that they were isolating themselves with mortgages, which we'll talk about in a moment. But we did hear about earning Bilt points on Rakuten. And I've talked about how much a big fan I am of Rakuten. So, but this is Bilt, so nothing is ever clean and easy with them. So it was only 1 week ago or so that we had heard about the leak and saw the fact that Bilt language was on Rakuten's website as a redemption option. And now, very quickly, it is officially already up and running. Now, this is great news because Bilt is not necessarily the easiest credit card. Well, I'm sorry, let me say it a different way. Bilt points are not the easiest to get unless you're using that card. And as far as a daily driver or purchases, it normally only works very good if for the restaurant category. You can definitely rack up Bilt points through restaurants, through the Bilt Neighborhood program and on the rent days. But if you're not as much of a foodie or willing to invest in it, then the points are not the easiest to get on a daily basis. Rakuten will completely change that situation because of how the variety of things you can do and purchase through Rakuten. So it's great news about that. But like I said, we have unknown information, and we do already know of a catch that you have to keep in mind. So let's talk about getting your Rakuten account to Bilt. So you do need to email, for whatever email you have with Bilt, you need to have the same one with Rakuten. You must have those same emails. So if you don't, then just make sure to easily go in, change Rakuten's email to your Bilt one, or if you need to get into changing your Bilt one, you can still easily do it, just not as quick as with Rakuten. Now, if you go onto your app for Bilt, you will see an option to sign up and link for Bilt for Rakuten, and you'll get 2,500 points. If you don't have a Rakuten account already, do not use that function, because there's a big difference of the 2,500 Bilt points that you can get from there versus opening up your Rakuten account through Rakuten and getting it that way. You'll get more points in most cases. Now, obviously, they can fluctuate, but you'll normally get more points out of and then convert the dollars from Rakuten to Bilt. Now, so if you're starting from scratch, do that. Do it through Rakuten. You can link your existing account, which is what we did. We linked the existing account from Bilt to Rakuten, and it was really only about like 2 minutes to even do it. You click the link in your Bilt app, and then it is instantaneous that your redemption is now for Bilt. So it's very easy to do and to deal with. Now for Bilt in Rakuten, for every dollar you spend, you'll get 100 Bilt points. If you have Rakuten, if you're already using it, the key is the next payout is November 15th. I believe from what we've seen on Reddit that November 10th is the final day that you can make any changes to how you get your points or your money distributed. And if you get into it now and change it before then you may see your first points of Bilt come up right immediately, right after that November 15th payout date. Now, there'll be one other payout date to keep in mind, which is February 15th. And because obviously, if you don't know, Rakuten doesn't pay out every month. It's normally every quarter. So let's talk about the unknown and a little bit of a catch that comes with this. You're going to get this rate of 100 Bilt points to $1, and you're going to get it for the first 6 months. After the first 6 months, your redemption rate of dollars spent versus Bilt points earned is going to be based upon your tier status with Bilt. You have blue status, which is basically for any member of Bilt Rewards. And then if once that 6 months is over, you're only going to get 50 points per dollar. And as of right now, silver, gold, and platinum all will maintain the same rate of 100 points for $1. But what I would warn you on, and we'll probably get enough notice of this, I don't believe we're going to continue to see that that 100 point per dollar rate continue on that, and for a couple of reasons. I think the big reason is if you look at, if you've dealt with Bilt Rewards already, they don't normally group silver, gold, and platinum together. Normally, if any are paired together, it might be gold and platinum, but a lot of times we normally see, even when it comes to the transfer bonuses, 100% for the platinum, 75 for gold, 50% for silver, and 0.25 for blue. I don't expect that will continue as far as this proposed rate. So I think they're going to try to make sure that you are at least gold status to get the full value of this. So enjoy the 6 months. Make sure to, because Bilt points are so valuable with Alaska Airlines, as well as one of only 2 transfer partners for Hyatt, Chase being the other one. It is excellent points to earn, a lot of ways to use it. Japan Airlines is new. I think Etihad was the new one as well. So they have an outstanding transfer partner pool to work with. The one thing that you'll end up having to also consider is, or we'll all have to consider is, does this change when these 3 credit cards come out, which we'll talk about next? If you went through the questionnaire process, there was a lot of questions that were being asked of us or being advised of what these cards would look like, of what benefits they would get. Don't be surprised if this feature is not something that may be on a no annual fee card. Once again, we don't know. This is all speculation of what we're looking at. But we do know, at least for these 6 months, that you're going to get a solid rate with it, that compares with the American Express membership rewards. And in this particular case, you don't have to have one of those Amex cards, that especially the charge cards, to be able to get the ability to get membership reward points. You don't have to pay the $895 for the platinum or the $300 and some odd dollars, I think, for the gold, the green card at $150, the blue business card, which doesn't have an annual fee, but not everybody feels comfortable getting it. And then the card that used to be able to do it is the $95 preferred credit card, which you can't get anymore. This Bilt Rewards process, in having the Bilt card, is still a no annual fee. So make sure to be able to take advantage of that. Hopefully, I've already done mine. and have already started getting some points from that. So I just wanted to raise that for your attention. Let's now look at the mortgage side of this, as well as the 3 credit cards that we've heard about for a bit. And once again, it's Bilt, so we don't really have a lot of information. So what we do know is that these 3 new cards for Bilt are going to come out February 7th. We do also know that the credit card issuer is going to move from Wells Fargo to cardless. We also know that that you can right now no longer get the Bilt card from Wells Fargo. They stopped issuing it this past week. So if you don't have the Bilt card and are interested in it, you're going to have to wait until the February 7th launch to be able to look at getting that card. Now, we are supposed to get more information in January. Now, once that announcement is made in January, then current Bilt card holders will have a couple of options that they're going to be able to consider. One is that you can choose to get the Bilt card from cardless and pick one of their 3 new cards: the no annual fee card, the $95 annual fee card, and the $495 annual fee card. Or 2, if you're not interested, you will be able to convert the card, staying with Wells Fargo, and convert it to their autograph card, which is definitely not the same, but a good card if you are looking at that. Let's talk about balances. When it comes to the balance of your Bilt credit card with Wells Fargo, you're not guaranteed to be able to move that balance over to a cardless Bilt credit card. It is up for cardless's determination if they want to do that or not. So as you get close to this, just make sure that you're understanding that there is a possibility that if you want to go move Bilt from Wells Fargo to cardless, that you may not actually be able to move the balance and have to address it with Wells Fargo. New card on your credit report. What we also are hearing is that whether you move to cardless or you move the keep the Bilt, go from Bilt to the autograph card with Wells Fargo, it's going to trigger as a new card. So you are going to add to your 524, let's say, because obviously Chase is the biggest one for it. So there's, at least at this point, I've not seen anything talk about where there is going to be an option where you don't have to, where it doesn't create a new credit card. Now, they may treat it differently if you are staying with Wells Fargo and moving from Bilt to autograph, and maybe they'll end up doing something there. That would make perfect sense. But if you're going to cardless, it's going to be a new one. The credit limits. If you have a Bilt credit card and you try to look at moving to cardless, they are saying that they're only going to do a soft pull on you. They won't do a hard pull. Now, what is that soft pull going to be for? Obviously, the speculation is that doing that soft pull is to determine if the credit limit you already have with Bilt with Wells Fargo is the risk that cardless wants to do. And we may see some people go down in their credit limit moving to cardless. Once again, I'm sure you can be able to move up in some cases, but I don't know about you. The credit limit that we've got is only $5,000. It works fine. I don't need it to be a big one, but I'm expecting that cardless is going to be very careful dipping their toe into this as far as what credit limits they want to end up allowing people to have. Curious of what your thoughts are going to be. Now let's talk about what these 3 cards might look like. And this is kind of going backwards to when we got those, and I keep saying questionnaires, but they really weren't. They basically kind of laid out what they wanted to do. It wasn't one of those general ones where they say, pick these benefits and which ones would you rather see them on. They just kind of told us like 2 options for each level. And I just want to do a kind of a small reminder of what it was. For the no annual fee card, there were 2 options. One was going to be 1x on rent and mortgages for both cards. And then you would end up having 1x on everything else. The other card was going to have 1.5x on everything else And then you would have 4x on Bilt Dining, Walgreens, and Lyft versus it being only 3x and 2x on the card that would get the 1.5x on everything else. So instead of 1x on everything else, 1.5, and then paying that difference, quote unquote, was having a lesser tier value on the Bilt Dining and the Walgreens and the Lyft. Didn't seem to make a big difference either way, and both of them seemed like at that time was worse than what we have now, which is not surprising because the whole thing that we're seeing with these three cards is for Bilt and now cardless to find a way to end up not losing money. We know how much Wells Fargo was losing money. Now, we don't necessarily know if that was through the travel. Was it the fact that they weren't getting people to be financing debt, that they weren't paying their bills off? Most things we heard about was the fact that people were kind of, at least according to their term, gaming the system because the minimum 5 transactions, people were using bubble gum and candy and very small because there was no minimum requirement and they were losing money. This is their way, in my opinion, is for the cards that end up having the $95 and the $495 fees to be able to kind of recoup that kind of loss that they're getting, because obviously when you're paying rent, you're not paying any fees. Mortgages, we don't know yet. So that is what and then you were getting the 2x on gas, groceries, and dining on the one card. Now on the $95 card, we were looking at 2x on travel, 3x on dining and Walgreens, and then 5x on Bilt Dining and Lyft. Now that was going to be versus getting 5x on Walgreens and hotels through Bilt, and then 2x on dining, groceries, and gas. Once again, the 1x on the rent and the mortgages were the same on both cards. And once you got to this level, you ended up getting kind of those partner benefits or credits regarding Walgreens and a couple of other ones. The $495 card, the main thing that now at that time it was talked about as a $550 credit card. And really the biggest difference between the two versions was one was going to give you 1.25 on your mortgage payments. We don't know what the cap was going to be. We don't know if while they raised the limit, did they drop while they raised the redemption, the rate of from 1 to 1.25, we didn't know if that would drop the $100,000 annually at all. And we still don't know. And that's kind of where we're going to be at with Wells Fargo with this all together. We're going to have to end up still waiting to get enough information to see what route we want to go. I do believe that we're going to see that, and I do believe we're going to get mortgages and rent on both cards. And the announcement from Bilt is that they are going to be doing mortgages now. It is supposed to be on all three cards, which did surprise me a little bit, even though they positioned themselves that they were going to do it, and that'll be coming with these three cards. So we'll be waiting until February. I think that there's going to be some speed bumps along the way here. Cardless is a entity that does do a lot of different cards, but from my memory, and I haven't been on their website as of late, a lot of them they're just, I say, quote unquote, just travel credit cards. Bilt would be the most comprehensive card I believe that they would be managing or issuing. And obviously they're going to be in a position that they're going to lose some money initially because that just happens. I think there's still more that has to happen with Bilt. And I think there's going to be more for us to find out. I think that 5 transaction limit, this is their opportunity to try to figure it out. Are they going to require the 5 transactions, or are they going to try to do the minimum spend? And I think they're going to take something from Mesa. Mesa, obviously, from the homeowner standpoint, they require you to get the mortgage payments credited. You have to spend $1,000 a month on the credit card. Now, for a mortgage one, it works out fine because there's a lot of good multipliers for mortgage holders that have houses and fixes and lows and such. Plus, I don't know. That child care 3X is beyond amazing. There's not another card like it. And it makes it very easy to get to $1,000, especially if you're doing childcare. I think that that Bilt is going to have to do something similar. They need to be able to get enough spend each year, and I think the per month, that 5 transaction thing, I just don't think is going to work anymore. So I think that we're going to see some more that's going to come out about these cards, and a lot for us to consider. But if they can get anywhere close to what Mesa's doing, they will get all of the business for mortgage holders because of their travel partners are light years ahead of Mesa, which is good, but Bilt is the best one on the market for travel partners. So I want to throw that out. And I see that Adam said, "Do you think the $1,000? Do you think minimum $1,000 spent like Mesa?" I think that Mesa has shown. I do think so. I think it's shown them to be able to do this. I think probably what will end up happening is the no annual fee card is going to have a minimum spend on it to be able to get the 1X on mortgages and rent. I think it's going to change for rent too. I think that we may see maybe the minimum spend drop a bit when you get to the $95 annual fee. Maybe it's $500 a month or something. Now the $495 probably won't have anything, but they've got to make a big bet on this. They're not going to be in a great position to say, to make a change on this once we all get these new cards. So I do believe that we're going to see a minimum spend, at least on the no annual fee card, but I'm curious if you all feel the same way. Ryan said, "Hello, happy Sunday, go Bears." Yeah, we'll have to see what the Bears end up doing. Appreciate you stopping through before the game, though. And will this stack with Mesa? I'm quite confident that we're not going to see it stack with Mesa. And here's the reason why. Just off of the way it works, in most cases. For Mesa, you're not, the only thing you're doing with Mesa is you have to be able to show them in your bank account that you've spent the money at that mortgage company. And one of the things they did about a month ago is they made sure that people sent in their mortgage statements so that they could prove that they owned the home or that they were the person that had it and how much it was. I think Bilt now coming after this is that if you're not running it through the card, because obviously Mesa doesn't run it through the card, they are going to be, they have to be careful to make sure you don't double dip. And so if there's going to be an option where you're doing it through a bank account, they're going to have to do something. I don't know what it will end up being, but that could definitely hurt them significantly. So I don't think we're going to see anything that's going to allow us to stack between the two. It would probably be the worst business situation ever if people are able to double up on those points. So just my thoughts. I'm hoping for the best, though, that we might see it. But want to make sure if you all have any other thoughts, questions, or anything that we need to talk about. Really appreciate you all jumping in here on well, for me, a Sunday afternoon now. I know everybody's at a different place with things, but if not, really appreciate it. Be getting some videos out, trying to finish them over the next day or two, and make sure to comment in the comment section about anything we've talked about. A lot of people have been able to share really good information that has helped a lot of people every time I go through the comment section. And let me know if the Avianca LifeMiles kind of high level view was helpful in your case. So cannot thank you all enough, and really appreciate it. And we'll talk with you all next week. Have a great day.